there's just so much at stake. If you have to keep them alive, and then, I mean,
you don't want to do anything wrong, or
yeah, like their personality, like if you do one thing a particular way, like it can alter them completely if you don't do it this way. Like there's just so many decisions. It's definitely, like I've said to her before, like mom guilt. Like I've never felt so like upset and like scared and like nervous about things in my entire life than when you have kids and you worry about like their life and like what's best for them and what they need and how you're gonna survive to have what you need so they have you to lean on when they get older. Like it's a lot. I always felt like being with a man was something that I was supposed to do. Like if you wanted a family, if you wanted a house and a career and kids and the whole thing, then you had to be with somebody who was going to be able to biologically give you that. But I always wanted like something else. When I met Amber, it was just something just so undeniable with her. Like I was willing to take that risk, whether it would be I don't get any of that or I do. Like she was worth it. We would say like in the beginning of our relationship, like if we could like physically have children right away, like we would have, like day one.
We knew it was gonna be like a lot of obstacles to go through to get to where we are today with them.
There's several different sperm banks from all over. They have kinds that are like anonymous, non-anonymous. Ones that show baby pictures, adult pictures, voices. Like they have so many different kind of options of what you want as far as like picking out, like maybe you don't want to know, maybe you do want to know completely everything about who it is that you're going to have a baby with, like their details, what they went to school, like everything. So that process in itself takes a very long time I mean, that's a big decision, especially when you can pick out exactly who you want. Like it's different whenever you meet somebody and you fall in love and you give and take what they have and what you don't like and what you do like. You love that person, so like you have a baby with them and it kind of is what it is. We spend hours and hours trying to pick who is perfect. There was a couple times where we would disagree. On the, like, I would usually go on there, I'd pick like a main list, maybe like 30 people that are like a maybe, and then we'd like sit down and kind of like, well, she likes this one, but I don't like them, so like that's obviously not gonna work out. There was definitely quite a few where I'm like, really? You can't see the potential? And you're like, not a chance at all. And I would do the same thing, so it was fun to kind of go through that, but it was also hard.
But we usually agree on a lot of things pretty easy together.
So it just makes it easy when it comes to big decisions like picking out 50% of your children's DNA.
Yeah.
We decided to pick somebody that was more like her as far as personality. So somebody that like genetically looked like her, like had the same interests in her. Trying to have a baby at home was a very interesting process. We tried it several different ways with different kind of fancy syringes, different tubes, different methods, different times. There would be times where we would pick up the sperm and we wouldn't wait until we got home because there's just a certain time frame that you have to use it before it goes bad. So I would put it in the car on the way home. We've tried different ways. Soft cup. It's like a little menstrual cup, but you like put the sperm in it and then insert it and turn yourself upside down for like 45 minutes just to kind of get it as close as it possibly can. It was good times. They found out that I had low egg count, which if you don't know, you are born with all the eggs that you will ever have. So by the time you get old enough, you hit a certain time where you go through menopause, and that's pretty much the last bit of your eggs leaving, and then you're done. I have an autoimmune disease which attacks my egg count. Mine was super low, as if I was like almost menopausal. So the fertility doctor highly recommended doing Clomid, which is a drug that helps increase how many eggs come out whenever you ovulate. It's absolutely horrible. I was on a very high dose because of my egg issue. You get hot flashes. You are just crazy in your mind. You can't sleep. I mean, it is absolutely brutal. Like, ooh, I would not recommend that to anybody for fun. Like, that's torture. It was so bad. So we signed a paper. Well, I had to sign a paper saying like, you're okay if this is a litter, pretty much. So I signed it because as overwhelming as that would be, like, we're here for babies, so let's give them to us.
It was a little nerve-wracking. Like, you don't know what to expect could happen. Like, you see some people have 3, 4, like, that would have been a lot. Two is a lot now, yeah.
It was interesting. I cramped for a day, like period cramps. I was pretty confident my period. I told her all day that day, like, my period's so gonna start. Like, this didn't work. Like, it's over. And then the next day, completely went away. So I was just like, why don't you just pee on a test just to see? And then I just like peeked. And I saw the line and oh my gosh, like I was like crazy excited. Like I literally could not believe that was, I feel like I've literally peed on thousands of sticks, like so many. And this is the first time it's ever actually lit up. And it was like, yes, you are pregnant. So I woke her up and we were just ecstatic and called my mom and woke her parents up and just over the moon about it. They called the fertility clinic and then they set up an ultrasound just to double check, make sure everything's okay. And then that's when we found out there was not just one baby, but 2 babies, which was also way more exciting. At that moment, we both looked at each other and like started bawling.
Yeah. It was a lot for her, especially when she got bigger and it was in the dead of summer. She was hot. So towards the end, she was getting really miserable, didn't sleep. You were pretty good when you were pregnant the whole time, really, actually.
For how miserable a pregnancy was, I think I was pretty great.
She was ready to have them every day until we got there, and then she was like, I'm not ready.
We found out I had ERG, which is intrauterine growth restrictions. So with that, and my blood pressure was extremely high. Yeah. They probably took my blood pressure like 4 times while I was there that day. The main doctor came in and she said, looks like you're going straight to the hospital. You're ready to have these babies. And I started bawling. I was like, no, I'm not really ready.
I was in the room when she delivered there was a good bit of people in there for twins.
And then they said that baby B needed to go to the NICU. And then of course at that point, she's concerned about me. So she was then given a decision like, who are you going with, the baby or your wife?
It was a tough decision to pick, but once they got her under control, she was feeling better. I was like, are you sure? And then I told him I would go with the one up to the NICU. We had about a little over, maybe like an hour drive home from the hospital. So it was just nerve-wracking with the traffic in Atlanta, 2 screaming, preemie babies in the car. So I was just nervous.
I sat in the back seat the whole time and was bawling my eyes out. Freaking out, like, oh God, now we gotta take them home and take care of them. Like, what are we gonna do?
On the drive homes when I was really like, this is real now, like, we can't go back. We have like 3 hours.
I freaked out when they first got home. They were like tiny. And I remember the one baby was in the swing. His little foot was showing and you could just see like he's like purpley looking like he was cold. And so I was like freaking out, like, oh my God, like I brought my baby home and he's freezing to death. Like I can't do this. Like I was a hot mess for a little while. Yeah. The hormones were rough. There's so many moments where you're like, just in so much love with these little people. It's just amazing what you feel for them. Like you think you love I love you with my whole heart, don't get me wrong, but it's like the love is just so different with this little creature that you're just raising and you're putting all this love into, and they love you, and it's just so cool to watch them like learn and do different things and to just grow. But there's definitely moments where you question like, was this really worth it? We just had a moment earlier today where the one baby was sitting in his chair and I kept wondering on the camera, what is he doing in his chair? Like, he's usually pretty like all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
it's odd that he's still sitting in this chair. So I go in there and he comes crawling as quickly as possible to me and there's no diaper on. So I'm like, why don't you have a diaper on? Where's your diaper? And I pick him up and he looks clean, like there's nothing on him. So I'm like, okay, just like took your pee diaper off. There was no pee diaper. There was poop all in that chair, smeared everywhere. That earlier just today was my, why did I have kids? I probably have one of those like once a day. And I do have some concerns with being a same-sex couple just in general, regardless of whether they were boys or not. When we first found out we were pregnant, we were looking for a photographer to do like our announcement photos. And with looking, I guess I didn't realize that we needed to point out our sexuality. So I booked an appointment with this photographer, and like 2 weeks before we were supposed to get our pictures taken, she messaged me and was like, hey, like I didn't realize you were gay. I have another photographer that I would recommend to you. Like, I don't feel comfortable taking your pictures. I would really like for them to like grow up in a private school, but being a same-sex couple, there is a lot of private schools that would not condone such a thing like that. So we do have to worry about like where our kid can and can't go to school. People obviously are going to mention like, you don't have a dad, like where's your dad, and things like that. Like, I'm sure that probably is going to make them feel a particular way. But I do think with having two mothers, like, you get more love and affection, and you just kind of get that times two.
I know one day, though, it's going to be something that we have to talk about where they came from. Obviously, it wasn't from both of us. So if they wanted to do that, we're not opposed to that. Like, that's their decision. If they feel that loved by both of us and stuff, I don't think they'll really go looking for something. I think
a part of it's like you're just like missing something.
Yeah.
They feel like they're missing something and need to kind of complete their puzzle. This is Ashton.
This is Grayson. I worried a little bit like that I would feel like they're just her kids, like not ours together, but I've never felt that way.
We always say that this is her twin.
Yeah, we get that a lot. They'll think he's mine, and then they'll be like, oh, he looks just like you, and he looks just like her. Their baby pictures together, you wouldn't know who was who. It's always felt like they were a part of both of us, even though they weren't really part mine.
It's possible to get married and have kids and kind of live your happily ever after with loving who you want. There's struggles and there's hurdles, but I mean, everybody has it regardless, so you might as well be happy while doing it.